Alright, got a Ruger P85 here today. This is the original of the Ruger P series. The main three. These are full-size 9mm pistols. It started with the P85, and then you had the P89, and then the P95, which I had one of those and reviewed a year or two ago. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out the review video on the P95. But those are the three main models, starting with the P85 here. There was also a 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. Those were mainly just either different calibers or slightly different variations, sizes and whatnot of those. Some was double action only. This one is single action and double action. But as I said, it started with the P85 here, and this one is a Mark II. So when they first came out in 87, they had an issue with the firing pin breaking, and they resolved that issue, and therefore after the fix they were designated the Mark II. So this one will not have the firing pin issue. Now, as I said, I used to have the P95. I like that pistol a lot. I've always wanted to try the other variants of these, especially the one that started all, the 85 here. So I finally get to do that today, and this is thanks to my buddy Andrew. Wouldn't be possible without him, so I really appreciate that. So as I said a minute ago, it's a double action, single action. So obviously you can see there, hammer fired. So you have your decocker here. So, and this is empty, guys, already verified. It's just hard to show you all that and record one-handed. So you got a decocker safety, so if you want to carry on the chamber but have the hammer down for that, well, let me flip it back up so we get it off safety there. So you have that long double action pull. You can do so, okay, with the decocker safely, obviously. So that also acts as a complete safety. It detaches the trigger so you can't do anything. Flip it back up and you're ready to go. So long double action heavy pull for the first shot if you so desire. If not, you just chamber around, and then you have the single action trigger, which on these models, and this thing is definitely very reminiscent of the P95, as it should be, because it's the one that started it all. It looks a little different, but overall compared to the P95, extremely similar. I mean, when I look down the sights of this thing, and I mean the sights are practically the same anyways, and maybe that's a big part of it, but it very reminiscent of the P95 I had. It, you know, pretty much the same thing. This is the one that started it all. So it's just a big, heavy, kind of boxy, kind of clunky, full-size 9mm there. And the triggers on these, in my opinion, are kind of outdated, especially for a hammer fire. They're not the greatest trigger. So it was interesting to me that this was the original one, but the trigger feels exactly the same. So I'm sure there was little minor tweaks here and there throughout the years, but this feels very much just like the P95 trigger did. So on single action, they have a lot of take-up, okay? And then there's a little bit of creep. So there's with it, all the take-up. You see it move there, and then there she goes. So not a whole lot, but you do have this ridiculous amount of take up, a little bit of creep, and then the break, and then the reset on them is pretty long as well. All the way out there, finally get the reset, and then you have a lot of travel to come back. So the break on single action, other than what we showed there with the take up and the long reset and all that, it's not too heavy. It's probably like maybe around a 6-pound pull, if I had to guess. One of these days I'm going to get one of those freaking trigger gauges, and I'll have that on here for you guys in all future videos, probably here in a couple months, honestly. So your mag release is here. It is ambi. Your slide release is right here. The slide only, slide lock, slide release. Okay, very easy to manipulate. Pretty basic, no frills grips on these. They got a pretty long barrel. I'll throw up the specs for that. You got a 15 round capacity magazine. Here's the original carry case with this one. I do believe they came with 2 mags. You can see there's a little pocket there, and I think, yeah, the gun fits in there with the, almost positive these came with 2 mags. I know my P95 did. But that's the original case there, paperwork. You can see it says Ruger there, so get the original case with this one. I'm going to quit rambling on about this thing. I'm excited to shoot it. I'm going to be real interested to see how it compares to the P95. Like I said, it feels almost the same in the hands, and certainly looking down the sights there. But back when I had the P95, I wasn't quite as good a pistol shooter as I am now. I was never that great with the P95, although I wasn't terrible. So I'm going to be interested to see how well I can shoot this one today. I'm assuming a little better than I used to with the P95. Now that I got a little more experience under my belt. So let's find out. I got 26 rounds of this S&B here I want to use up, and then I'm going to run this toolless steel case through it, see how it does with that. Alright, here goes my first shots. I'm going to print some on the paper down there to see where she's impacting, see how we need to hold. So, just 15 in this first mag, and then I'm going to do 16 plus 1 with the second mag. Which these are all the brass. The bottom of this one has some of that steel case in it. Try this decocker safety. Alright, so that's close to 10 yards where we were standing there, and those were my first shots. It looks like I might be favoring a little right there, or it could just be me. So I was doing a 6 o'clock hold on this black ring, so pretty much right where they need to be. I'll keep an eye on it. It might just be slightly right, or again, that could just be me, because those are my first shots. I'm still getting used to this thing, and I haven't shot that P95 in years. Alright. Okay, besides that horrible flinch, I went to pull on that one and nothing happened because I didn't let the trigger out far enough for it to reset, so that long reset got me there. Alright, that's the first mag. Ow! Something sharp in the pocket just stabbed me under the fingernail. Alright. Well, let's do this. On the chamber, safety on. Replace that. Alright. So, now we're 15 plus 1. Gotta take the safety off. I'm terrible with double action, but I'll go ahead and do this first shot double action on the big plate there. Hey, that was fun. Alright, well, I'm getting used to it, and I can tell I'm definitely already quicker with it than I was with the P95, so that's good to know that I've improved over the years. So I can get these set back up and try again. It's also worth noting that this has a particularly large grip on it, and I have smaller hands for guys, so typically with the guns that have changeable back straps, I'll always go for the smallest one because that's what's comfortable to me, because my hands are kind of small. So with this having a large grip, not the most comfortable thing for me, so that's certainly going to affect my overall speed and accuracy a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it's being much of an issue. So I just noticed I had to choke up on it a little more to run faster and more precise there. Once I did that, partway through that second mag, I started doing a lot better. Obviously, you can apply that to any pistol, but I mean more so than what I normally have to, because that grip's a little large for me. I'm going to load back up here and to that back row from back behind this table. There goes, excuse me, my paper target. It's 14.6 yards, so we'll just take some relaxed pace shots from back here and see if I can actually knock those over reliably back there at basically 15 yards. Now it falls over. I was gonna say I hit that first one and it just didn't fall over. Ah. Alright, well from back here it looks like it's hitting low right, so I have to compensate a little bit. That's certainly what it seemed like. How many more do I got? Oh, now that falls over. Alright, well I noticed I'm pulling some of those shots at least. I had the same problem with the P95. I don't know if it's just the trigger, or again, maybe the grip's too big for me, or just the overall ergonomics of it or whatever. It's certainly not as bad as I used to be with the P95. But some of those shots was me. I pulled some of them. But I want to take a few on that paper target down here from back here and see where they're hitting compared to when we were about twice this close. Let me see here. One of those I did pull a little right. I just seen the sights are off to the right when I pulled the trigger. So, yeah. That was probably that one there. So, I think this lowest one here was one of those shots I just took. And then I think that one was the other one. So, I noticed I'm not the steadiest with that thing. So, I'm kind of like moving around trying to aim at that from back there. So, that's certainly playing some factor for me there. So I'm definitely getting some old school vibes of me shooting the P95 and the issues I had shooting the P95. I'm having the same issues here with it today, and it's just me. Again, it might just be that this thing's just too big and blocky for my small hands. Certainly much better now with the added experience under my belt. But for me, I still have a little bit of a challenge shooting it compared to other platforms. That's honestly why I sold the P95. I love the gun, but I just shot more, modern things where it could change the back straps and whatnot to fit my size hand. That I just never really shot the thing, and would have kept it forever because I really, really liked it. And I only sold it because I needed a little bit of cash at the time, but that's why it was one of the ones to go, because I just didn't shoot that well, so I didn't shoot a whole lot. A lot more fun when you're hitting what you're aiming at, especially when you're hitting it every time instead of, most of the times. But that's just a me thing. I think it's really because it's too big and blocky for my small hands. Like I said, it's not really that much of a difficulty. And 15 yards on something smaller than a headshot, does take a little bit of skill to hit. So certainly not complaining at all. I just know I'm better on the other platforms. Basically all I'm saying is, if you're a dude with smaller hands like me, you are going to notice that you probably don't shoot this as well as you would some of your other pistols that fit your hands a little bit better there. But that's certainly no complaint or no fault of the gun or whatever. It's just I got little dinky hands. So I'm sure guys with bigger hands than me, and especially like large hands, they probably love this thing. But yeah, that'll do her. As you can see, this thing is a freaking tank. They're known for that, and I don't just mean like it's a tank because it's huge and big and heavy and metal and whatnot, but generally pretty reliable. We had no issues today, obviously, and that was even including a full box of the steel case here. So, a lot of guns are picky about that kind of crap, and that thing just ate them up no problem. My only real complaint is just the trigger. Now, again, this is an old school gun, originated in the 80s there, so it's to be expected for the era. But that take up compared to modern day standards is just ridiculous. And then the reset as well, and then the travel, you got to go after reset to get back on the wall and whatnot. That's the only real thing I don't like about it. Like I said, the me not being that as accurate with it, compared to other guns, is just because I think it's too big and blocky for my small hands. So that's no discredit against the gun. Guys with bigger hands are going to love it. So really, the only negative I see is just that old school trigger there. It's got a lot of movement and play in it compared to modern stuff. But yeah, I really like it. Other than that, I just wish it fit my hand a little bit better. But that's kind of my fault and not the guns. So I did notice, again, it was very much like shooting the P95, but the P95 has a little bit better grip for my hands in that regard. It's a little bit smaller, not so like blocky, I guess, from my memory. So I'm doing better with this P85 out here today than I did a few years ago with my P95. At least I believe so. I'm gonna have to go rewatch that video myself, but I'm pretty sure I did better out here today with this one. So if I get a P95 back in my hands, which I like the grip on the P95 a little bit better than this P85, I'd actually run it pretty good. But that's going to do it for today. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks again to Andrew for loaning this to me. Hope you guys enjoyed this blast from the past. Links in the description for the products I use in the videos. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope to catch you on the next one.